Hello there! It's me, Jacob Rewind, and I would like to introduce you to my co-hosts, Bill, Cypher, and King Clawthorn. Say hello, you two. They're plush. Anyways, hi, it's me, Jacob Rewind, and I've got a little bit of a new type of video for me, which is something that I plan to do a little bit more of moving forwards. You know, new types of videos. But anyways, I don't want to talk about what's next. I want to talk about what I've got planned for today. An Owl House theory video, because Owl House is my favorite show that is currently airing. One of my favorite shows of all time, and I seriously love it, and I think I'm onto something. Because a lot of people have been theorizing, and I think they're close to the truth, but not quite there. It's a theory about Hunter, it's a theory about the Grimwalker, and it's a theory about the most recent episode of the Owl House, Eclipse Lake, which, if you haven't seen, don't watch this. And also don't watch that earlier bit, where I said Hunter and Grimwalker. You know, spoilers, but why are you watching it out loud? Anyways, I've got a very interesting theory for you today, and I'm very excited to show it. So I'm gonna stop stalling. I'm just gonna get right to the theory. Smell that theory. Okay, so from the most recent episode, there are a lot of really good, really solid reasons to believe that Hunter is a Grimwalker, and a Grimwalker is a clone of Emperor Balos. Some of those reasons include Emperor Balos and Hunter's ears both have the same nick in them, which is probably not a coincidence. There's also the diagram in the book has eyes incredibly similar to Hunter's. And a third reason to believe that Hunter's a clone is that the last ingredient is bone of ortet. And the definition of the word ortet is the original plant from which the members of a clone have descended. And there are some really excellent YouTube videos, theories, about that theory that go into way more detail and break it down and make a very convincing case. However, I'm convinced that all those connections, the ears, the eyes, everything, I think it's all a misdirect, a very clever misdirect to cover the real truth. Because if you look at the evidence that we've been presented, it's impossible for Hunter to be a Grimwalker. But it is possible for him to be something else. I think that Hunter is not a Grimwalker. He's the last ingredient needed to make one. I think Hunter is an ortet. Now, I know that might sound pretty wild, but if you follow me on this, I think I have some pretty convincing evidence. Alright, let's get into it. So, Hunter cannot be a Grimwalker because Emperor Balos hasn't made one yet. First of all, why would the book be open unless it was a project he was actively working on? Yeah, no, I know. I know that is not evidence enough to build a theory off of. That's possibly circumstantial, possibly coincidence, and it's a major stretch, but my next point, it's rock solid. Stone solid. The Galder Stones. Emperor Balos doesn't have any Galder Stones. He can't have any Galder Stones, and it's impossible for him to have already have them. Into the Looking Glass Ruins is a whole episode that is structured around these stones, their powers, what they are, where they are, why witches want them, how no witch has been able to get them. In the episode, the Glandus students say this.
Have you ever heard of the Galder Stones?
They're powerful relics. Many witches and demons have sought them.
But they've all returned empty-handed.
haunted by its guardian. Until us.
We heard some Coven scouts talking about them, but it'll be rough going.
I think the important takeaway from that dialogue is Coven scouts. Emperor Belos hasn't been there yet. He's interested. He's investigating. Plus, if Emperor Belos had ever been there in the past, there would be no Galderstones for Gus to defend in the episode. He would have taken them all. Can you imagine any competent member of the Emperor's Coven arriving at the Looking Glass Ruins and not taking all of the Galderstones? Also, it makes more sense for Emperor Belos to want the Galderstones story-wise. At the end of the episode, Gus and Bartholomew promise the Looking Glass Ruins caretaker that they will come back to help defend the ruins. That means that in a future episode, there's a possibility of seeing them defending the ruins from Emperor Belos. It makes sense. It creates story. So it's logical for him to want these stones. And he wouldn't want them if he already had them. And he can't create a Grimwalker without them. If he doesn't have the Galderstones, he can't have made a Grimwalker, so Hunter can't be a Grimwalker. Okay, now I'm done talking about the Galderstones. And I'm gonna move on to talking about Hunter, and prove definitively that Hunter cannot be a Grimwalker by talking about the Galderstones again. In the recipe, the first ingredient is Galderstone for heart and power. For heart and power. And power. Witch's power. Hunter is a powerless witch. And you might be thinking, well, what if it's power in the sense of it's just moving the thing? That's what the heart does. The heart of a witch. The bile sac is attached to the heart. It's where a witch's power comes from. Heart and power. Hunter is a powerless witch. If Hunter were the Grimwalker, he wouldn't need a staff to help him cast artificial magic. He would be a magical artificial construct. It's impossible for him to be the Grimwalker. He doesn't have a Galderstone in him. Additionally, Hunter says Emperor Belos found him, and that he comes from a long line of powerless witches in hunting palismen. Neither of these things can be true if Hunter is some sort of artificial construct made by Emperor Belos. It can't be true, and Hunter really doesn't have any reason to lie, to lose in that moment. Hunter was found by Emperor Belos, not created. And that's what leads me to my next point. My theory that Hunter is the last ingredient to create a Grimwalker comes from that point, that detail. Emperor Belos found me. If you've got any dramatic music at home, this is where you should put it in, because I'm about to start vamping. I don't think that Hunter was found by accident. Think about it. What use does the Emperor's Coven have for a powerless witch? Emperor Belos didn't take Hunter in as an act of charity. He was looking for Hunter. Emperor Belos needs Hunter. Really, really think about it and decide which of these two things makes more sense. Emperor Belos looking for someone to take under his wing and choosing a powerless witch, or Emperor Belos hunting down a very rare breed of witch with no powers and red eyes called an Ortet. Oh yeah, by the way, that picture in the book, I don't think that's the Grimwalker. I think that's the Ortet. I think that these 2 pages of this book only display the ingredients necessary for this spell. Look closely. there's the Galderstone, the Stone Sleeper Lungs, and the Palistrom Wood. And at the bottom of the page, an Ortet, identifiable by their red eyes, and the bone will be ready to harvest after they grow up. Now, if you think I'm stretching a little bit too far here, just remember how Emperor Belos has talked about Hunter and apply it to this theory. It supports this theory. Hunter has a purpose. The Titan has big plans for him. That is Emperor Belos' words. But unlike the Coven Heads, Emperor Belos hasn't shown him a vision or given him a mission. Belos hasn't even told Hunter to train to be ready for something. And that's because all Hunter has to do to fulfill his purpose, he doesn't need to train, he doesn't need to recover something, he doesn't need to do anything except grow up. And then be harvested. Hunter just has to stay within the castle walls and wait until the bone of Ortet is ready to be harvested, and the Grimwalker, whatever that is, can be made. Everybody's been worried about Emperor Belos destroying Hunter's palisman, but if I'm right about this, they should be more worried about Hunter, and more specifically his bones. So, what do you think? There it is. There is my crazy theory presented as best I could before the next episode comes out, because as far as I know, this could be proven right or wrong in the next episode. Season 2 has been moving really, really, really fast. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like it, if you know a fan of the Owl House who might be interested to hear this little theory of mine, send it their way. And if you want to see more of me, make sure to subscribe. I've got a plan for an Owl House project. I don't want to say too much. No, I do want to say too much. I really want to do an Owl House abridged series, so if that's something you'd be interested in seeing, subscribe or maybe comment so that I know there would be some interest. And I hope you have an exceptional day. Bye.